We are back at the world famous SEMA show, documenting every single Jeep build at the show. We're talking Gladiators, Wranglers, 4xe, and more. So stay tuned as we go over every single incredible build at this world famous SEMA show. We're in the TIS off-road booth with a monster Jeep Gladiator. I love these fenders. Look like it's all bodyguard, skid plate side steps. We got 44-inch Mickey Thompson tires with some worn beadlock wheels. I like this front bumper. The whole thing is Rhino line in a really cool color, but I really like the back. Check this out. Well, we got, looks like 1-ton Curry axles underneath there. That's very important when you have 44-inch tires. Anti-rock whole billet control arms, and in the back I like this rack. It's an extrusion rack with some max tracks up there, a full-size spare, and then I like how this tonneau cover protects everything in the back. Really clean diesel Gladiator. Behind me is the Grinch sitting on some huge tracks right here. This has an RSO suspension, EV8, looks like long travel. This thing is wild. I'm hoping that it's a diesel, although I don't see the diesel badge. In the back, we got some we got some snowboard racks, some wakeboard speakers for good measure. This thing is just a fun vehicle. I think my Canadians watching this right now will be like, oh my God, that's so great. Southern California folks, not so much, but the Grinch. Angry eyes have met their match, and I don't like it at all. Scares me. We got the Rebel Off-Road Atlas here with huge, this is like 1.5-ton Curry axles, nuts. You got King shocks, a little Rebel Off-Road dampener mount right there, which is cool, especially if you're running this thing hard. 40-inch Nittos on it, Rockslide Engineering side steps. You got the Casey Highlight rack on there. I believe this is a Rebel Off-Road rack with some Rome Adventure Gear cases, but I really like the back. Check out this setup. So this is the full truck bed delete, tons of storage up there, rooftop tent. You got a mount for your fishing poles. This is an adventure vehicle that is fantastic. And in the back, we're not done. Full-size spare tire. Might be kind of hard because these things are about 100 pounds to take this off. But you got a whittle ladder, you got a little propane tank, some jerry cans, and if you come over on the back here, it just continues additional places to mount your gear and accessories. Rebel Off-Road always does good stuff, and with Curry and 40-inch Nittos and some, looks like Rebel or maybe Curry Industry, I don't know what wheels these are, but they are beadlock and pretty insane. There's a lot going on this drop racks Jeep Gladiator here. You got the Ironman 4x4 front bumper, integrated light bar, which I really appreciate and like. RC winch, which I haven't heard of them, but on the side here, I'm not sure what wheels. Those are TIS off-road wheels. Now check this out. It's the drop rack system, so the entire rack will actually come down just with a lever. So if you don't want to get up and on top of your rig for things like paddle boards or bikes or storage racks, really cool solution that comes back down. We have the Venturous canopy on there. That is mold injected fiberglass, which is stronger and lighter than traditional fiberglass, which you could see with this weight and the rack on there, it still holds up. You don't see that very often with fiberglass. Really cool Jeep Gladiator build, and I really like these doors. The interior brown saddle leather is just absolutely fantastic, but there's some really cool things happening on this awesome Gladiator. Are you a Barbie girl living in a Barbie world? Well, you might like this Jeep Wrangler 392 2024 with all the modern interior upgrades that you come to expect in a brand new Jeep Wrangler 392. This thing has the Nemesis fenders on here and the brand new Vulcan shocks. What you have to see is on the back how these things mount to the axle, and it was no small feat in and of itself to get these things on this rig. You see where the shock and the coils are? They're actually on the back of the axle, which allows a ton of travel. You got 38-inch tires, beadlock KMC wheels on it, ADD off-road front and rear bumper, and of course for good measure, you got the front runner rack system and your Barbie car in case you want to take the kids along and they don't want to drive this thing or drive in this thing. You got it up there. Doetsch off-road build, you know, they always do cool creative stuff, and this is almost like a concept vehicle that they built for the show, and I like it. It's pretty rad. I think it's going to change completely next year It's going to be completely overhauled. If I know anything about Doetsch off-road, you know he's going to put 44-inch tires on it, put some 1-ton axles on it, and then really start ripping this thing. So it may not look like this for long, but really cool build by Doetsch off-road. And behind me is a Gladiator on steroids with one of the cooler wrap jobs I've seen. I love how it fades from black into this really cool zombie apocalyptic design. You have NT tires, I'm not sure what, or NT wheels with Baja Boss 37-inch tires. Those are the Mickey Thompsons. The suspension is a Rock FSG black, which looks pretty heavy duty. I like all the control arms are all painted gold, really cool. But what I really like about it is the ARS, the Adventure Rack Systems rack, and these metal cloak fenders. Those are going to allow you to have additional clearance. But overall, the complete design of this with the Pelican cases on top, this is an apocalyptic vehicle that you'll definitely want. You got some metal cloak side steps right here. The fenders keep on going on the back, and on the back rear bumper, I'm not sure what bumper it is, but it's very sleek and awesome. OneDayWraps.com did the wrap. Good job on this. Overall, I like it a lot. And we can't have a rig without pointing out the Alpha X tail and front headlights. Really cool system. I like the rack. This is a really cool 20th anniversary 392 Jeep Rubicon with 40-inch Venom Power tires. I haven't heard of those guys before. Some Method Racing wheels, looks like those are true beadlock. We got TerraFlex suspension on here with the Artec inner fenders. I love that pop of red tying everything in. We got the Torx roof rack or light bar right there, which is really sick. And I really like this bumper a lot because it's not sticking out in front of the tires. This gives you tons of clearance. So with all that 392 power, you're gonna need it. This is the latest edition of the Jeep Rubicon 392. We gotta get a shout out to Rockslide Engineering side steps. Those things are sweet. I bet this thing rips. Even with 40-inch tires, the only thing I'd like to see on it is 1-ton axles, but that's just me. This Jeep is surprising because it's a 6x6 that looks like it could do crawl mode. That is pretty rad. It looks like a JT, heavily modified. I don't even know what they have underneath the hood, but bestoffroad.com. You got the full roll cage here. No seating in the back. I guess you're just gonna have a ton of cargo storage, but overall, a feat of engineering nonetheless. I mean, look at those control arms. That's insane. You got 1-ton axles throughout, and then some really cool, what are tires, wheels are these? Fit, I don't know what wheels those are, but they're beadlocks and huge tires. I really like the crawl, the crab mode on this thing. Pady Performance and bestoffroad.com. Check out this Jeepster Commando, this custom build built off of a CJ5 chassis. The interior is crazy dialed. You got a little truck bed in the back, full-size tire. I don't know if they actually off-road this thing, but it is really well done. The paint job and bodywork is flawless. Finish line out of Ellisburg, Washington. Did a really good job on this build. I like it. I think it's a super classy and classic Jeep that a lot of people would love to drive. The ice cream truck Jeep is back. This is built off a Wrangler 4xe chassis. Check out the suspension on this long travel Fox with the reservoir shock over here, so you could adjust it on the trail really easily just by not having to reach in, get all dirty. You could actually do it right here. Steer Smarts out of Detroit, Michigan built this thing. I like the wrap a lot. You got the Nemesis side protection here and the rock sliders, huge Mickey Thompson 44-inch tires, the Baja Boss. And then, of course, an ice cream truck for when you're out on the road and you want to sell ice cream, because why not? Check out this RPM Gladiator, the Rubicon. I thought it was Brobicon would be kind of cool. Rubicon, is it Halloween themed, I guess? You got the KMC beadlock wheels with huge 44-inch Baja Boss tires by Mickey Thompson, a full RPM suspension setup, paired with King shocks. I like how they color match the springs here to match the wrap. You got Baja design lights with these little Evo off-road mounts right here, which are pretty cool and very clean. Up top, you got the Evo off-road inner fenders, and this bumper is really rad, super compact, and just for good measure, a little doll head on the free spool of the Warren winch. Oh, Dana Spicer. Looks like 1-ton axles, which you have to have in order to have 44-inch tires. Otherwise, you're going to rip your Dana 44s out in about 2 seconds. Pretty cool diesel Gladiator. We got a completely Rhino line Jeep Gladiator here with some monsters wakeboarding speakers on the back. That is, I guarantee you, so freaking loud. But what I really like about this is the detail on the actual Rhino line. We've never Rhino lined one of our vehicles, but I will say this thing could go through brush marks, go through just about anything and stay completely fine. You got the Quake LEDs here in the back, and up front, we got some Maxxis tires here. Looks like 40s with Vulcan shocks. The RC off-road side steps right here, again with the same texture to match that Rhino line. And then these wheels are super rad. The Vision wheels, I like the red, nice little pop there that kind of ties everything in. And up front, we have a rough country winch, and I'm not sure about the bumper, rough country bumper. I don't necessarily like this bumper as much for rock crawling because you have this whole area right here that the tire could get stuck on, but it looks like you got enough clearance for it. Quake LEDs on the front, and overall, I think the best thing about this build is the Rhino line exterior. It looks really cool. Check out this monstrosity of a Gladiator behind me. You have some ridiculously thick Mickey Thompson Baja Pro X3 mud tires, and the suspension setup is worth more than most people's cars. You got Fox shocks right there, all long travel, a super awesome sway lock. With such big tires, if you want to unlock that sway bar and or just regular steering, you got to make sure you upgrade everything in the rig. His name is Rocky. He likes warm hugs and dirt trails, and overall, really cool build that has for sure seen some rocks and some trails. We're in the MagnaFlow and Camburg booth with a super awesome Gladiator. There's a couple things I want to point out on this. Yeah, you got the Falcon Wild Peak tires with the black Rhino wheels. You know we love that combo. King shocks, Rebel off-road, looks like steering kit, something like that. But up top, check out this up top overland rack. I think it's really cool. Bolts onto the factory points. I don't know if you have to drill into that or not. You got the Rhino rack back wing that swings all the way out, and then the RSI Smart Cap, which we absolutely love. Stainless steel, super heavy duty canopy. You got a rooftop tent up there, and overall, I really like this setup for overlanding because you could still have it for functional daily use, but then also some other little bells and whistles, like a little side step right here to make sure to get up and over the rig. Lights, we got Baja Design lights, a ton of LP6s up top, which is gonna light up the world. This thing is pretty rad. All right, I don't know what's going on with the Jeep behind me, but its name is R2 Jeep 2, Star Wars themed. The wheels, I think, are really sick. Look at this. It's got a little custom R2D2 cover on there, and of course, a paint job to match. Looks like they bobbed a Wrangler or just turned a Wrangler into a truck bed, but it's incredibly short wheelbase, or they just took a two-door and then modified it. I'm not sure what they did here, but you got some wakeboard speakers in the back. Really cool custom work. Really good job on this. Extrusion Overland. This is the Scrambler CJ build that looks like it was completely modified from the ground up. One thing that I saw that is pretty cool, check out this diff cover. It's the Spider diff cover, or the Purple Cranium Spider. That's kind of cool. Overall though, I mean, there's too much to go over in one video on this thing. It looks like a really fun rig, huge, absolute monster. We're in the Camburg MagnaFlow booth with the Beast 392 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. This thing is heavy duty to the extreme. You got beadlock wheels, BFG tires with 37s. Not only that, but you have the Camburg lower billet control arms. Looks like we got some King reservoir shocks with a long travel kit. The interior is modified with some red leather seats. That looks really cool. And overall, I bet it sounds fantastic with that MagnaFlow catback exhaust. We're in the Bulken off-road design with a really cool Rubicon Gladiator here. One thing I like about this build is the front bumper. So this is a Bulken front bumper. I like the paint, or at least the color match on this. You could have a little pop of color with the integrated Warren winch. Still plenty of clearance. You got the Fox steering kit underneath there. A Yukon, it looks like 1-ton axle, and then 37 or 40-inch Nittos. The RSO suspension setup and anti-rock off-road sway bar. Make sure with those huge tires, you're still able to control it. And then some monster lights right here, Nacho lights. Those Those are bad boys. In the back, we have a little simple rack system. I'm assuming it's Bulken off-roads, and I've never seen this tent before, a roof space rooftop tent that's all hard shell. That's pretty cool. This rear bumper is really rad too. Vulcan off-road design. Really clean. We got a Rebel off-road rock crawler here, a little two-door Jeep Wrangler. It looks like the newer 2025s. Look at the suspension setup on this. They had to trim the hood in order to fit those kings on it. Just insane. 43-inch Maxxis tires, 42-inch Maxxis MT tires. This is something that you see at like King of the Hammers. You got the full roll cage, the racing seats, a space in the back if you wanted to put a spare tire. The shocks are so big that the reservoirs, your oil reservoirs, are inside the cab. And then in the back, we got no spare tire, but a couple jerry cans here just for good measure, a little PCI race radios and some chase lights, which are cool. And of course, the Rebel off-road rear bumper. This thing is wild. Curry axles on it, either 1 ton or 1.5 ton, I'm not sure. Behind me, we got a sick Doetsch off-road build. You know we love our friends at Doetsch Off-Road, starting with the 7075 aluminum memory metal steering kit on there. You have some fuel beadlock wheels that if you like the red color, I think those are pretty sweet. You got some monster Toyo tires on there. I like this Oracle lighting, so whenever you open your door, this actually shines down. I'm not sure what that skid plate is or these side steps, but they look pretty cool. Rugged Ridge has this rear light replacement that I think is really clean. It just conforms to the body line, and then of course the spare tire mount for this monster 38-inch Toyo tire. Up top we got the Rugged Ridge rooftop tent and this tubular rack that mounts to the actual bumper and the body itself, so you don't have to drill into the top of your Jeep. What's really cool about that is you could take the hardtop off as well and still keep that rack up there if you wanted to, which Jeepers love taking the top off. Yes. We're in the Bestop booth and I got a cute little two-door JL behind me with some Mickey Thompson 40-inch MT tires. These are the Baja Pro XS, and you can see how big those ridges are on that tire. You could get up and over rocks easily. You got that anti-rock sway bar disconnect right here, a really cool bumper. I'm not sure what brand this is, a little eagle with an N in it, but I like how compact it is. And then in the back, you got the Bestop cover, which again, if you want to go safari mode and just flip that thing up, it's really easy to do. S-Pod controls all the lights, and then overall method wheels. It's a cool build, nice little rock crawler, not bad. We're in the Bestop booth with a cool Jeep Wrangler here. What I really like about this is the inner fenders and the bumpers are next Venture Motorsports. A really compact bumper that's really just utilitarian. We got some awesome MT tires on here, but really these inner fenders are super clean and rad. You have the Falcon shocks. Those aren't the adjustable ones, but still Falcon makes really good stuff. TerraFlex lift on it. These skid plates are rad. It's gonna protect your body. Again, that's the same brand, and then the fenders are clean, overall really clean build in the Bestop. Swipe that thing over, you could take these side panels off and have the great outdoors come to you in your Jeep Wrangler. We're in the Bestop booth with a really cool Gladiator. I really like these seats. So this is the PRP custom seat covers that are really rad. They just look really clean and bring that safari look, especially with the paint on this is really rad. I like this little safari setup or the little freedom panel replacement on the Bestop. Flip that open, you don't have to deal with the freedom panels rolling around all over the place. And check out this canopy system. So this collapses down and you're able to have everything protected in the back without carrying a ton of additional weight. You can find this at Bestop, really cool. And then just a little fridge freezer by ARB just for fun. The rear bumper, I like the stainless steel, just keeping it raw. And that's New Ventures Motorsports, I believe. We have the world famous 4x4. That's the name of the Instagram account. I don't know if they are actually world famous, but I like this Fishbone inner fender and front bumper is really cool. You got a super heavy duty 12S winch on there. On the side, you got the tube side rock sliders, which protect everything. And in the back, the Fishbone off-road rack system is pretty low profile. Looks like it's not that thick of steel, so it isn't going to be too heavy. Mile marker traction boards right here, and in the back some storage applications, full-size spare tire on the top, and then it looks like diode dynamics, potentially a light bar. But I really like these fenders and the inner fenders. Fishbone off-road. We got an RSO suspension Jeep Gladiator behind me. The suspension setup on this thing is pretty gnarly. I mean, comparable to maybe a Fox 2.5 series shock. I've never ridden it before. It looks pretty cool. Really clean build on Maximus. In the back, we got the Kuwait rack. This thing is a lot larger than some of the other racks that we've seen, but still, the cool thing about the Kuwait system is it's all like a backbone system. You don't have a ton of panels and everything weighing you down. This gives you the flexibility to change it out how you want, and also mount anything you want on the top and the sides without necessarily taking a bunch of room and a bunch of weight, which is the downside of canopies. They tend to be heavier, but at the same time, this is a really good hybrid solution that still integrates the roll and lock tonneau cover. We got the Armadillo 6x6 Jeep Gladiator here, an extra axle on the back just for good measure, and I after saying no, done, nope, not doing it. We're in the OMU booth with a cool hood on this thing. You have a see-through window right there, which for something like our Jeep Rubicon 392 that had the Whipple supercharger, I think that would be really cool to be able to see it. You have these storage jerry cans right here, which I like mounting on the side, because typically we have a bunch of crap all the way in the back and all over the place. I like that as a spot for storage. A side step, a side window compartment that also doubles as a table. And you still have your window, which is pretty cool. Good functionality right there. Additional storage on the back. OMU, O-M-U. Winner of the largest approach angle here is the Caliber Jeep Rubicon. This thing has SDI E-Click adaptive suspension on it, DV8 off-road front bumpers, inner fenders, and fenders. We got some XD wheels by KMC. I wonder if those are portal axles. I don't know, pretty cool. Getting this thing up there was probably no small feat. Speaking of small feet, we have some side steps right here that I've never seen before. I don't even know what those are, but that's an interesting take on side steps. In the back, we have another DV8 rear bumper, full-size spare, some Max Tracks, a little trasheroo with some ducks on it, because that's what Jeep people like, right? We're in the Alltop Overland booth with a decent Rubicon right here. We got the Jeep Gladiator with the Vulcan shocks and TerraFlex suspension. That's kind of standard. But up top, one thing I really like is this rooftop tent. Check this out. I haven't seen this before. This bottom part flips up, and then it's a clamshell that's much smaller footprint than normal like clamshell tents. I guess it's not a clamshell, it's a hardtop. But still, I like the different ways that you can fold it up so it compacts really small, so it's not hanging off the side of your truck bed. All top Overland equipment. I'm in the Novsight booth with a dope Wrangler here. We have these awesome LED lights fixated everywhere. You could take the ambers off really easily. That light bar is a really cool design that I like a lot. Super low profile, but also each individual one is, you know, a ton of light in and of itself. When you bridge it together, it's a ton. You got some pod lights right here, and then the Novsight rooftop tent, little clamshell that collapses down. Looks like super quality material. I'm not sure what rack this is, but overall, I think the lights are the coolest thing on the build. All right, behind me is a beast of a Gladiator with 42-inch Baja Boss tires, and in order to make sure you don't break things, you got an XD60 axle on the front by Dynatrac, and on the back, the Pro Rock 80s. That is pretty gnarly. Baja design lights, not sure what the rack is on top, and in the back, it's pretty mellow. You got some side steps right here / rock sliders, and I'm not sure what that logo is. I don't know that brand. That's my fault. That's my bad. I need to educate myself, but the axles are really where this thing shines. All right, we got a Bestop Jeep Gladiator behind me with some Baja Boss 40-inch tires. It looks like we have Falcon shocks on it. Its name is Escape with the Nemesis off-road fenders on here, but the RR, what is that, Rough Ridge, I think inner fenders, which is interesting. You got a little stubby bumper. I'm not even sure what brand that is, but I like the color scheme on this, going with the yellow and the black, looks pretty cool. And really the interior, I think where this thing shines, you got all the yellow stitching to match the exterior with these leather seats, custom leather seats. That's pretty cool. I like these side steps right here / rock sliders. This thing could definitely hit the trail and do some fun. You also got, looks like Dana 60 axles on it. Pretty cool build. I've got a sweet Gladiator behind me with some portal axles on it. What I like about this thing is how much clearance you have. Look how high that axle is. That's one of the main benefits of the portal axles. Instead of just switching out an axle, you can just add the portal axles on and then you're good to go. Adds a ton of clearance. Got the fuel beadlocks on here and then some huge 42-inch Patagonian MT tires. Those are absolutely beasts. Rockslide Engineering side steps, some Fox shocks, nothing too crazy back there. I think the portal axles are the coolest thing on this build. This Gladiator is not like your normal Gladiators, mostly because the engine has been swapped with the LS3, nice little Corvette engine in there, and for good measure, because when you have that much power, you need to make sure to protect your axles. We filmed this last year. They had just put on the portal axles on. It seems to be a trend happening right now with some Bilstein racing shocks. Rockslide Engineering front bumper on here, and of course, it wouldn't be a Rockslide Engineering truck without some Rockslide Engineering side steps. That flips up and now you have rock sliders. Super rad. Really cool rack system in the back too, but that Corvette engine, I don't even think you need this rack. Just go fast and have fun. Rad. We got the Quake LED Gladiator right here on airbags. This thing could lift up pretty extreme. Deep dish wheels, you know how I feel about that. I'm not even gonna talk about them. I like these Quake LED lights right here that normally go where the little hood scoop goes. We got a light bar and then road armor fenders. I really like the road armor fenders, but you can see the airbags right there. This thing can lift up and it's more of a mall crawler in my opinion, but you know, some people like it. Not this guy. Behind me is a Jeep Wrangler Sahara. Most of it is, you know, relatively stock. I like this rack on the back because you could still take your freedom panels off. These are little side steps to get onto the top of your roof. You got Hercules tires on there in 37s with stock suspension. SB, I'm not sure what SB side steps right here. I don't really like it when you can't remove this piece because this tends to get caught up on different terrain, but this is the 4xe hybrid plug-in, and then a decent cool bumper with a Smitty built winch. Overall, pretty good, pretty good.